This video lesson is about the Americans with Disabilities Act. This is another group that is fighting for civil and equal rights in the 1970s, 80s, and 1990s, and even through today a little bit. Please complete the graphic organizer as we go through this lesson. The disability rights movement fought to right inequalities faced by people with disabilities. In the present day, you see handicapped accessible parking. Most buildings with stairs have an elevator or a wider entrance to make it wheelchair accessible. And parking for handicapped people is also prevalent in many places. These things didn't exist prior to the disability rights movement. Buildings were not required to have elevators or handicapped accessible entrances, and parking was not close to the door to make it more convenient for this group of people. And this is making the situation in America unequal for people with disabilities. It doesn't give them equal access to the things that everybody else has. So there were some laws that changed this. In 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, was passed. It guarantees individuals with disabilities equal opportunities in employment, public accommodations. Okay, so employment would be you can't deny somebody a job because they have a disability. Public accommodations would be public buildings, okay, or hotels, places like that. Transportation, so buses or trains or the metro, any kind of transportation has to create a way for people who have disabilities to be able to access it. State and local government services and telecommunications. So people who maybe are deaf need to have a type of way to communicate with other people. Another area that federal law helped people with disabilities is in education. The Individuals with Disabilities Act, or IDEA, is a law that entitles children and young adults access to a free and appropriate public education. Prior to the passage of IDEA, children and young adults with disabilities were not always allowed to come to public school, and this is a violation of their rights. And so a law was passed by the federal government that public schools have to follow that allows these children to be educated in the public school setting and receive any accommodation that they might need to make their education appropriate for them. Please complete the graphic organizer and any activities associated with this lesson.